Your fluttering wings had dripped down behind you as you let them relax, just to let the person behind you able to see on the board that chalk was moved across in a quick motion. But behind you was one very distinct boy whose shyness always got the better of him, and his anxiety creeped every second of the day. But right now, as he looked at your soft wings that dropped behind the chair and twitched every minute, as if checking they were still unseenable, he felt quite at ease. His hands started reaching out, and without thought, he slowly let his hands caress down the soft silk feathers. Your wings twitched harder than the other times, and you looked back, shocked, at the blissful Tamaki, who was going through his mind for all the tallest bridges to jump off of. Near that were near him, as his hands were thrown dead center on your wings. He didn't know what to do. Should he remove his hand? Should he keep it there? Should he turn away and act like he didn't know anyone? Wait, you already caught him. What was the point of that? You laughed, a bit by bit, silently, as not to disturb others, and slowly stretched out the wings, offering for him to keep petting. And he did, and a wavy smile crept on his cherry red face as he kept slowly caressing the feathers. It was so gentle it nearly put him to sleep, but the bell rang, and for it to be the end of class. And you were walking home. Mirio and Nejire were being excited about some sort of new hero movie that they saw on the TV. The little kids, it says the little kids they were, and as per usual, you and Tamaki sat behind and watched, occasionally construbing. I'm sorry about earlier, Tamaki said as he twiddled his thumbs and tried to hide his eyes on the ground. It was stupid of me not to ask before petting your wing, and I really should have, Tamaki said as he slouched over, his confidence faltering by the second. He laughed a bit at his shyness, and when he looked at you, you shook your head with a chuckle. And don't worry about it. It's really okay. Besides, it's really relaxing to have them pet, so I don't mind. And you don't even have to ask. Just go ahead and pet them when you want to. You said you really didn't mind, and even if you got embarrassed, saying that was only because the person you were talking to was none other than your crush. His face turned into a wobbly smile that he constantly tried to hide, and he chuckled under his breath. Thanks. He laughed. You laughed a bit and spread out one wing hole to stretch it a bit before reeling it back in and slightly bringing it out to gesture an allowance for him to pet the light blue and gray feathers. His wobbly smile turned calmer, and he nodded a yes before petting your wing again. As the four of you walked, he continued to pet your wing, but then something unexpected came from his mouth. Can you teach me to fly? He said, as he threw his eyes to the ground in embarrassment for asking. You smiled brightly at his dubbits of being rejected. I think it's maybe does, but it says dubbits. Started to slowly fade as he spoke. You really want me to? You asked, excited, and he nodded his head shyly at your bright enthusiasm. Of course, you said, ecstatic to be teaching your friend how to use wings. But you hesitant. as you look at its currently wingless back. I can grow them when I eat things that I... Sorry. I can eat things... Oh my god. Sorry. I can grow them when I eat things that have wings, he said shyly, and that's when you said the dumbest thing you've ever known across your mind. I have wings. Oh, I have wings eat me, you blurted out without thinking. You both halted in your tracks, and he started at you, utterly shocked. Wait, that came out wrong, you shouted, and he slowly seemed to melt on the sidewalk, as if your words were like pouring water on the Wicked Witch of the West. And suddenly, as you stood there in the sidewalk, you were reminded that it wasn't only you and Tamaki, but halting with you to process your words were Nejire and Mirio. That's not very child-friendly, Yin. Mirio tried hold back his laughter, while Nejire was full on rolling on the floor. I didn't mean that. I just meant, like, if a person has a physical quirk and Tamaki were to eat, like, I don't know, one of my feathers or just a small piece of it, would he grow wings exactly like mine or no? You explained. Yourself and Tamaki seemed to relax again, somewhat still shocked at how enthusiastic your words were. It's fine, he said, his face as red as a tomato. Actually, once inhaled a scale from an enemy when it dislodged from their skin, and I found out that I could use hard scales on my arms like a shield of sorts, he clarified, for you to help your curiosity. But I don't really want to taste it because, well, one of it's technically cannibalism, if you think about it hard enough. And I'm not sure of the effects it would have on my body. He trailed off, twiddling with his fingers as he looked away from the group. Well, that's okay then. I'll still teach you how to fly, you said excitedly. That's how you ended up here, as you were alone in the after-school gym, teaching him how to slowly push off the ground. Okay, so you want to do a light jump, but not too strong. And make sure to give your wings a good push off as you jump, okay? You said. He nodded determinedly as he watched you push off so gently, as if you did this every day, which you absolutely did, obviously. But he was only used to activating wings once in the activating wings once in the air. Sorry, I woke up from a nap recently, so I'm a little tired. Not really, kind of. Okay. He followed your instructions, and slowly but surely he was lifting off the ground. He laughed a bit in excitement, but immediately fell to the floor as he lost balance. You landed down to help him up and worry, but he insisted that he was fine. You both continued with this for a while, and soon he was up in the air and flying like you were. You both started to mess around and slightly race each other like children, in a children manner, as you both laughed and twirled around. Just as sunlight and confirmed your relationship as you both watched each other. Him not as gracefully spinning, but still great for someone who didn't have wings their whole life. You were both playing around when you looked over and smiled at his as he flew beside you, and as if by magic your face seemed to illuminate, and his whole mind went blank as he watched you with a blush. But in the moment he stopped flapping his wings and was plummeting straight to the floor, and from the height he would surely break a bone. Tamaki! You shouted as he struggled to get his wings in place and flap while he panicked on his way down. You dove after him, your head forward and wings tucked as you reached out to him and grabbed a hold of him by the arms before pulling him to your chest. As you were seconds from the ground, you opened your wings, and with a solid flap and like a parachute, you both jerked up when the air before slowly flying down. As you landed on the ground, you laid on the back, tucking your wings in as you still held Tamaki in your arms, and with a sigh of relief you looked down at him. He was straddling on you, tucked in on himself as his arms clenched your shirt. "Are you okay?" you asked as you examined him, and he nodded a as he stared at you, wide eyes. Oh shit. He wasn't controlling his actions as he looked into your eyes and slowly uncurled himself, but never stopped straddling you. His hands made their way beside your head as caged you below him. His face got closer, and neither dared to say a word as his face was now inches from yours. And as you looked into his indigo eyes, you found yourself entranced as he looked from your lips to your eyes. "Can I kiss you?" he whispered slowly as he watched your face turn a hint of red. Yeah, you said, and the gap was closed, molding your lips on each other. After a few minutes, you both parted to take a breath from the mix of emotions that always ended in you being lip to lip with him. He rested his forehead on yours, and a wine red glow tinted his cheeks. The feeling lingered on his lips as he nervously smiled down at you two's fingers on his lips as his eyes shone with happiness. I kiss you," he said with a happy laugh at the end. As he leaned in once again, he kissed you again, and with a needy as he was soft molding onto your lips. When he let go, he was smiling again, and he was far more red. "I did it again. I should have asked, but I did it again," he mumbled as he started to curl up to being overly joyed. "Tamaki," you said, and he looked at you, seeming to come back to reality as he blushed brightly. Yes?" he asked, and held one of his long bands of hair in front of him while looking at you briefly, disbelief of his actions. "I know that you just kissed me and all, but I want to know if you like me, because I like you a lot," you said. "And even if he just kissed you too, your doubt was still getting the better of you. Yes, now was a better time than ever to confess." "Of course I do," he said as he unclenched and sat in front of you with his feet behind him as he sat on his legs. "Then, Tamaki, will you go out with me?" you said, and he smiled. "Yes," he said as he once again took you in his arms and kissed roughly against your lips. And when you both parted for air, you say, "This shy man, if all the people smirk at you, I could do this non-stop," he said, and you both laughed lightly. And that's how you both came to be one another.